Proton therapy is a cutting-edge cancer treatment that precisely targets tumors without affecting healthy tissue and organs. That means fewer side effects, better outcomes, and new hope for even the most complex cancer cases. And in New York State, it's only available at the New York Proton Center. Visit nyproton.com to learn more about proton therapy and request a consultation. The New York Proton Center. Precisely revolutionary cancer care.
CRM was supposed to improve customer relationships. Instead, it's shorthand for Customer Rage Machine. Your CRM can't explain why a customer's package took 5 detours? Reboot your inner peace and scream into a pillow. It's okay. On the ServiceNow AI platform, CRM stands for something better. AI agents don't just track issues, they resolve them, transforming the entire customer experience. So breathe in and breathe out. Bad CRM was then. This is ServiceNow.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble. The truth is plain to see. If you want freedom, take pride in your country. If you want democracy, hold on to your sovereignty. And if you want peace, love your nation. Wise leaders always put the good of their own people and their own country first. The future does not belong to globalists. The future belongs to patriots. The future belongs to sovereign and independent nations.
Welcome, my friends, to the Tuesday edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, fastest hour in American media. Those two excerpts, of course, from the President of the United States address to the UN General Assembly on the 80th anniversary of the General Assembly taking place today in New York. Obviously, what appears to be sabotage going on. Katie Pavlich wrote about this and talked about it. Not only was the teleprompter not working when the President of the United States and Melania Trump stepped on the escalator, it suddenly stopped working. And just a host of the little pettiness that goes on there. Nevertheless, the president's speech, which I saw several mainstream outlets kind of losing their minds over it. Filled with untruth, filled with the usual Trump is lying about everything that you get from the mainstream press. But it was a stemwinder of a speech. We have multiple cuts from it. And the reason that the left will not appreciate the speech from Donald Trump to the United Nations General Assembly is he told the truth about so many things, including climate. He spent a lot of time dealing with the climate change and the energy crisis and immigration, both in the United States and abroad. And he pulled no punches. He talked, this was a speech. If you've seen UN speeches, as far as this goes, this was a stemwinder. It was no holds barred speech. Aside from the news of the speech, which we will get to briefly, there have been some other developments. Here's an interesting story today about Secret Service. Secret Service uncovered a vast network of over 100,000 SIM cards. You didn't hear about this, did you, Carlos? No, this isn't being reported much, and it should be. The Secret Service of the United States uncovered a vast network of over 100,000 SIM cards and 300 servers. 300 computer servers, 100,000 SIM cards that they believe is being used by a foreign nation state actors for a nation state and for criminals that have been used for swatting, setting up swatting calls, targeting prominent conservatives, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been swatted numerous times. And the amount of hardware that was recovered in New York City could have been used to hamper the entire cell service or mobile service in New York City. And it's being regarded, another story from ABC News on this, the potential for disruption to our country's telecommunications posed by this network of devices cannot be overstated. There is a warning from some of these agents that they believe this is not the only one in the country. So a sophisticated network capable of disrupting cellular service and used to swat conservatives discovered by Secret Service should a yawner of a story, not widely being reported, but this is huge. Other stories that are huge today. Jimmy Kimmel, as you know, after we left the airwaves yesterday, there was a big announcement from Disney that Jimmy Kimmel will be returning to the airwaves tonight. And boy, you should have saw the orgasmic response on social media from the left. They are just so pleased with themselves, so happy. Their boycott against Disney worked. Disney has capitulated. Jimmy Kimmel's going to be returning. And yes, even a collection of Hollywood superstar actresses and actors have all lined up behind him. Oh, it's free speech, yada, 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 just whatever. Here's the issue with all of it for ABC Disney. The two networks, the two companies that have 20 combined, either depending on which news report you read, 22 to 25% of the affiliates to that show are both saying, yeah, they can bring him back, but we're not bringing him back. That would be Sinclair and Nexstar. Sinclair made the announcement first that they were not returning the show to the air until they have a better idea where it's going to happen in the future, and the show's not going to be as offensive as it was to their broadcasters. And they said Sinclair also calls on Mr. Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, we ask Mr. Kimmel to make meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family in Turning Point USA. Oh, he's not going to go for that. What do you think? So that's one of the things Sinclair is calling for. Nexstar's announcement came after that they were not going to return the show either. So, yeah, the show can be on. It's not going to be on in some vital marketplaces, including Washington, D.C., I understand. But it will be on for up to 80%, depending on who you read and understand and believe. 80% of those people that could have enjoyed the Jimmy Kimmel show will be able to see it. Another 20% won't unless they catch it streaming, and I'm sure it'll be available streaming somewhere. Now, here's what you can expect. The ratings tonight on that show are going to be wow, out Lollapalooza, out the park. Big ratings. And for the next week or so, 2 weeks, he may have some very high ratings. But the interesting thing will be to see what happens when Jimmy Kimmel is no longer a headline news item. If that show, number one, fails to capture its affiliates back, what would happen then ABC would wait till the contract with those affiliates over, probably move the show to another network, to some other stations that want it. But the key is going to be if it's going to be a profitable show. Or if now Disney is stuck in a position where they have to keep it just for appearance's sake, even if it's unpopular. So no matter how you cut it to me, this is not a win-win for the Kimmel forces. This is kind of a lose-lose. This is the best lose scenario for Disney ABC. But they had to staunch the bleeding because their stock was taking a beating after this, and it took a real significant beating. We may not be talking the numbers of Bud Light, but we're talking billions of dollars here. Read up to reports that their stock had taken hits of up to $4 billion. So they had to staunch the bleeding. And, of course, liberals, there still is a state senator, he's a little of importance, so I don't remember his name, out of California showing the way the Democrats operate, who says he can't wait to bust up, to break up Sinclair. And so you have those kind of reactions coming in. But the long-term health of that late-night program, and frankly, I don't care whether he's on or off. I never watch the show anyway. I would rather just go to sleep rather than watch Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, for me, people are free to like what they like, love what they love. I don't have anything. If he's on, I don't wish the guy any harm. It's his show, whatever. But it's just not my type of program anyway. People feel free to watch what you want to watch, regardless. So we shall see where that goes. Ryan Ruth, the 59-year-old who tried to assassinate President Trump by hiding out at the golf course down there at Mar-a-Lago, has been convicted, all charges. He paid no attention to the I don't know, centuries old or decades old admonition that you should not try to represent yourself as a lawyer. He did just that. Apparently, after the verdict came in, he tried to stab himself in the neck with his pen, with a pen, was thwarted by U.S. Marshals, let out the courtroom, led back in after they shackled him up. And apparently he's going to have a lot of time on his hands. There is a looming government shutdown. Again, a reoccurring story in our news cycle. For years, this time Hakeem and Chucky are upset. Kamala Harris is throwing everybody she can under the bus, but taking a little heat. She took a little heat from Rachel Maddow for pretty much saying that she didn't want Buttigieg on the ticket because he's a gay guy. And Rachel Maddow didn't like that. We have that. Marco Rubio is on, of course, has just been stellar. But I'm going to tell you, these Donald Trump, his speech today, wow. So, let us do this. Let us visit with our coin sponsors. And then we'll do some more visiting with you. Oh, James Golden, Snerdley with you here. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, Donald Trump. Let's get right to some Trump while we have some time. Carlos, let's get to cut 8. I said he talked about global climate change. These are great. In
1982, the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that by the year 2000, climate change would cause a global catastrophe. He said that it will be irreversible, as any nuclear holocaust would be. This is what they said at the United Nations. What happened? Here we are. Another UN official stated in 1989 that within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map by global warming. Not happening.
Yeah.
You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said, global cooling will kill the world. We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world. But then it started getting cooler. So now they could just call it climate change because that way they can't miss. It's climate change. Because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success.
Donald Trump, nailing it. And we'll be back, my friends. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear. Yeah. With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president.
Come on,
Black
Rachel.
Woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the ticket effectively because he was gay, it's hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That's
No.
He couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump, who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk.
Wait, stop right there. Stop right there. She just said what she said she didn't said. She said it. As a gay dude, I didn't want to take the risk. Rachel Maddow asked her, this makes me very, very sad. You're saying that we couldn't put old Pete Buttigieg on the ticket because he's gay. I didn't say that. And then 5 minutes later, she says, I couldn't put it. He was a risk because he was gay. That's what she said. So she writes something in the book. Then she's confronted by Rachel Maddow. Then she says, what I said in the book, I didn't really say. What I said was what I said in the book, which is what I said. We couldn't put him on the ticket because he's gay. And this woman wonders why. By the way, I rarely comment on people's appearances because it's so banal. It's so beneath me. But I saw her on The View again today, and she had on that brown jumpsuit that has become, pantsuit. This woman is extremely wealthy. It must be a branding thing. I'm sure it's not the same outfit, but it must be a branding thing. I just wonder. I rarely see her in any bright colors. It just struck me today, and that's an odd statement to make, but there it is. But this woman hasn't changed. I wrote it in my book, then I go on Rachel Maddow and deny it was in my book, so then explain what you said. Well, I said what was in my book. I didn't put the guy on the ticket because he was gay, and I couldn't take the risk of putting a gay guy on the ticket. But this doesn't make sense to me.
And what we just saw in terms of a presentation at the United Nations, I talk about it. I talked about, remember in the debate? Yeah. They laughed at him the last time he was in front of the UN.
Yeah, this time
you watched, did you remember just about, several weeks ago?
Here she is with The View.
With Xi and Kim Jong-un and Putin. Yeah. You think they're not laughing?
Oh, they are. as they create a new axis of partnership, what's happening?
Yeah, right. They're laughing at him. We'll deal with that. Okay. Now, to her point, by the way, they're going to laugh at Trump at the UN. Briefly, let's get Marco Rubio. Where's this Marco Rubio cut I'm looking for? Let's see. Cut number 5. Marco Rubio, they're laughing at Trump at the UN. Marco Rubio was on CBS News this morning. And this is, he was on Fox News for this one. He was also on CBS. This is what he said when he was on Fox.
Well, look, I didn't hear the entirety of the interview. I can only tell you that on both of those issues, on the case of Russia, Ukraine, the only leader in the world that has any chance of bringing it to an end is President Trump, which is why he has put more time and energy into it than anybody else. All of these other countries, including Turkey, by the way, are begging us to be involved. They want us to be involved. Look, these people go out and say what they want to say, but at the end of the day, when they want something done, they want to come to the White House. President Erdogan is coming to the White House this week to meet with the president. They all come to the White House. They all want to speak to President Trump. They all want President Trump to fix it. So they can say whatever they want to say. The truth of the matter is that we have leaders. We have meetings going on today that we have leaders begging to be a part of it. They are calling, saying, can we be included? Can you bring us in? Can you get me 5 minutes to shake the president's hand? He is the indispensable leader in the world right now. He is the only one who has any chance of not just brokering a deal to end the war with Russia and Ukraine, but also bringing about the war that's going and getting all the hostages released in Gaza. And I think he's put more time and energy into peace proposals and peace initiatives than anybody else in the world. And he's had the most success of anybody else in the world. He doesn't get a lot of credit, but let's not forget the DRC and Rwanda had a war going on. It's the president that's brokered that. Azerbaijan and Armenia. It's the president that brought that about. Thailand and Cambodia. Right. It's the president that brought that end of that about. India and Pakistan. That's just 4 right off the top of my head in the last few months. And the president's the one that did that, not any other leader in the world, and not the UN.
Boom. Now, let's get back to Trump at the UN. That will address, they're laughing at Trump. They're laughing at Kamala Harris, please. Okay, now, let's get back to Trump at the UN. As I said, he spent a lot of time on climate change. Carlos, let's just do 9 and 10 back-to-back. Let's hit them.
The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate. And they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust and rot. Most expensive energy ever conceived, and it's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies. And most of them are built in China, and I give China a lot of credit. They build them, but they very few wind farms. So why is it that they build them and they send them all over the world, but they barely use them? You know what they use? Coal. They use gas. They use almost anything, but they don't like wind. But they sure as hell like selling the windmills. They've said this is a disaster, what's happening. They were going all green. All green is all bankrupt. That's what it represents. And it's not politically correct. I'll be very badly criticized for saying it, but I'm here to tell the truth. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm in New York City. I'm feeling a lot safer. Crime, we're getting crime down. And by the way, speaking of crime, Washington, D.C.
Okay, let's move, because I want to start. He talked about that too, but I want to move. Let's play 13. This was a moment at the UN.
People with evil intentions, and they're heading down a path of total destruction. You know, the carbon footprint was a big, big thing a few years ago. I remember hearing about the carbon footprint, and then President Obama would get into Air Force One, a massive Boeing 747, and not a new one, an old one with old engines that spew everything into the atmosphere. He'd talk about the carbon footprint, we must do so. Then he'd get in and he'd fly from Washington to Hawaii to play a round of golf. And then he'd get back onto that big, beautiful plane and he'd fly back and he'd talk about, again, global warming and the carbon footprint. It's a con job.
It's a con job. We can leave it there. Let's go to cut 14 very quickly. Immigration was one of the issues he raised as well. Donald Trump at the UN this morning.
Trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say, I look at London, where you have a terrible mayor, terrible, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed, so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law. But you're in a different country. You can't do that. Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained.
And he's saying this with, of course, the European leaders in the room to their faces. Talked about this too. Cut 16, religious liberty. And listen to this.
Our commitment, values, and those values, really, that we hold so dear together. Let us defend free speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity. And let us safeguard our sovereignty and cherish qualities that have made each of our nations so special, incredible, and extraordinary.
This is an amazing speech, folks. Now, I also at this point want to give a shout out to a journalist, Todd Bensman. If you know Todd, give him a buzz and say hello. Todd Bensman, his reporting on immigration during the Joe Biden years is worthy of the highest prizes in journalism. He went to the sources, got the story. It was Todd Bensman and also the Center for Immigration Studies, they're a nonprofit group, that spoke about the United Nations role in the illegal immigration invasion, if you want to call it that, during the Biden years. This was so underreported. Today, the president of these United States, Donald Trump, at the UN, called the UN out for the very thing that Todd Bensman reported on. That's cut 19. Carlos, let us listen in.
Despite Disney's decision to reinstate Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight, ABC's largest affiliate owners, Sinclair and now Nexstar, have decided they are not
somebody's got it wrong.
Show.
This is Kimmel and Nexstar. This was Donald Trump's the wrong one. I don't care about that. We already talked about that one. I'm looking for the one where Donald Trump is talking about the UN funding. Let's see whether we can find that. We can get that after the break. We'll play it really quickly for you, ladies and gentlemen. We already discussed Kimmel, but you know what we haven't discussed yet? We haven't talked about the Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run, which is coming up on Sunday, September 28th. Now, all of us here at the Red Apple Audio Networks are encouraging you, our listeners, to please go donate to our team. Please go to redapplemedianetworks.com/walk to donate. Help us raise the most money we can, or as much as we can, for the amazing Tunnel to Towers Foundation Walk Run. Let's never forget America's heroes, what they do for us. Let's raise money, please, for our veterans, for our first responders, and for our 9/11 victims. That's redappleaudionetworks.com/walk. Every single dollar counts. James Golden and Snerdley with you here. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. In the United States, we reject the idea that mass numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net. We have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal.
Now, you talk about all these people that Kamala Harris is talking about, they're laughing at him. You know who's not laughing at Donald Trump today? Citizens in Great Britain. You know who's not laughing at Donald Trump today? Citizens in France, citizens of France. All over Western Europe, there are people, average men and women, who listen to what Donald Trump said in the UN and wonder why their own leaders do not have the guts, do not have the convictions, the courage to stand up and say what the President of the United States is saying. And so while you have every leftist in the world that always, like Kamala Harris, goes on and tries to give the impression that Donald Trump doesn't know what he's talking about, people are laughing at Donald Trump. This is why Donald Trump commands the respect that he does among world leaders, because he's unafraid to talk about issues regardless. All of these are third rail issues, the way what we call third rail, this electrified third rail, meaning they would destroy a candidate's career or a politician's career if you talked about it in the way that Donald Trump talked about it. That is supposed to be the way that Donald Trump talks about immigration, the way he talks about what's happening in Europe, the way he talks about what happens in America, the way that he's called out these people for this whole global warming scheme. All of these are supposedly third rail issues, but Donald Trump is unafraid to talk about them. Very quickly before we go, cut 17. This is, I believe, how he ended his speech.
So together let us uphold our sacred duty to our people and to our citizens. Let us protect their borders, ensure their safety, preserve their cultures, treasure, and traditions, and fight for their precious dreams and their cherished freedoms. And in friendship and really a beautiful vision, let us all work together to build a bright, beautiful planet, a planet that we all share, a planet of peace and a world that is richer, better, and more beautiful than ever before. That can happen. It will happen. It will happen, and I hope it can happen and start right now, right at this moment. We'll turn it around. We're going to make our countries better, safer, more beautiful. We're going to take care of our people. Thank you very much. It's been an honor. God bless the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Bye.
It was some speech, ladies and gentlemen. What a day for music as well, music history. Springsteen, for those of you that... Anyway, Julio Iglesias born today. Springsteen, Ray Charles' birthday. The day that Bob Marley last concert. Also, what we didn't get to, passed away on this day, Robert Hunter from the Grateful Dead. He was one of the principal lyricists with the Grateful Dead. And Robbie McIntosh with the Average White Band. But we'll leave you today with the music of John Coltrane, American jazz saxophonist, bandleader, composer. Among the most influential and acclaimed musicians in the history of the world, especially the world of jazz and 20th century music. Passed away at age 40 in July of 1967, but today's the heavenly birthday for the one, the only, Coltrane. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude, my friends, for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, we are back tomorrow. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?